You don't mean this. You don't.
You know how I said I was gonna make you hurt as much as I could?
No! Don't hurt her! Don't!
Do that. So I'm gonna kill the last friend you have.
No! No! Mirabelle! What's up, Christopher Productions fans? It's me, Christopher Productions, and welcome back to another video. So I've been being told by a bunch of people that they don't really understand the storyline, or that they just don't understand the videos in general, or that they don't know certain characters like Luke Lenz, Chase, Cadence, or Charlotte.
Let the video begin. Wait, he snuck into an abandoned house.
What's up, Spy Ninjas?
Whoa. Yo, who is that? By the way, I have no clue about the storyline of Christopher because I don't watch him. That's my honest truth. This is my first time.
But today, I'm going to be diving into the lore and explaining to you
Oh my god.
every bit of things that has happened leading up to the last video you saw where Mirabelle was in a very tight situation. So without further ado, let's get into it. Come on, guys. So, the first bit of lore I want to drop to you guys is the fact of how this all started. So growing up, I lived in Ohio. Yes, down in Ohio, swag like Ohio. Yeah, I know, that Ohio. Well, I lived there for most of my life. I did a bunch of fun things, and I met some really cool friends like Peyton and Ricky. And yes, that Ricky. The Ricky that is now known as MH47. And well, we had some fun times and we were really close friends. We even went to the same school together. My first YouTube video was even filmed in the school.
Bloody famous. Pew pew.
Christopher's on Google.
Yeah, mate.
And of course, after years of being in Ohio, the time came. My parents had eventually said that they would like to move on and go on to another state and introduce us to other parts of America. And of course, that led to my parents deciding to move to South Carolina, the same place that my dad had visited back in his years in the Army that he had wanted to go to after, well, he retired. So, we came here. And I started to settle into South Carolina, or at least that's what they wanted to happen. But that did not happen. Instead, I was recruited by Project Zorgo. Yep, that group of hackers. That group of notorious hackers that practically ran your childhoods. That YouTube trend that was all over the place. I was a part of that Project Zorgo, which eventually got me stationed in the UK. And considering I don't feel like explaining all this again, I am going to play to you the clips from another YouTube video right here that will explain to you what happened in the UK that led me back to South Carolina. So without further ado, play the video. Spy Ninjas Rebirth fans, it's me, Christopher Productions, and today in this video, I'm going to be telling you the story of my secret past. And well, at the end of this video, I have a very big surprise for all of you. So without further ado, let's get into it. It all started back when I joined Project Zorgo in Ohio. I was known as Project Zorgo member 581, aka PZF, also known as PZ 581. And well, when I joined Project Zorgo, it was immediately posted all the way to the UK, also known as the home country of PZ8. In the late 2019s, early 2020s, I rebelled against Project Zorgo and fled all the way to South Carolina. When I was stationed in the UK, I was stationed specifically in Liverpool. And then when I rebelled against Project Zorgo, an insider of Project Zorgo warned me that the anti-Project Zorgo rebellion was coming after me. And so, what the?
Christopher Productions, I'm a big fan.
Thanks, buddy. How are you? Good to know. You know, you can be anything you want to be. You seem like a great person. You're gonna grow up to be big and strong, just like me. He also told me that I have less than 24 hours before the anti-Project Zorgo Rebellion task force finds me and takes me down. He hooked me up with a boat to Ireland, also telling me that this boat won't be enough to escape them. Considering that boat to Ireland won't be enough, I was told that I'll have to buy a plane ticket to America once I get to Ireland. And so, that's exactly what I did. And I chose South Carolina specifically because I was told that I have family here. Then, when I arrived in South Carolina, I became the silver hacker of South Carolina. Years later, in late 2021, early 2022, I lost my mask in a fight. And soon after that, the PZ Rebellion started to weaken and disband. And well, after that, many members of the PZ Rebellion began to join the masked hackers. And well, eventually, years down the line, I did too.
And of course, the UK was a difficult time, as you might have seen. But the thing is, you're probably wondering, why was I scared of some knockoff PZ Squire, as some of you might call him? He's not a knockoff PZ Squire. You guys need to understand, this guy has battled tons of threats in the UK. This Project Zorgo member is unbeatable. He's insane. He's powerful. He defeated people such as the Mutant Hacker, the Skull Hunter, and much, much more. He's more powerful than all of my team combined. That's why I had to escape to South Carolina. So, that explains the whole situation on how we got here to South Carolina in the first place. Now, it's time to tell you guys the rest of it. And it does not end there, because once I made my way to South Carolina, things started to go a bit more difficult. Because in the UK, I was able to make tons of allies from the criminal organization known as Project Zorgo. And I was also alerted of other people such as Mikey Boy Productions and the Masked Hackers, a group of wannabe Project Zorgo members that came together after the original Spy Ninjas ended. And you heard me right, the old Spy Ninjas, not Shinobi, and definitely not Rio. I'm talking about Melvin, Daniel, Regina, and everyone else. But either way, that time came to an end, which led to the rise of the Masked Hackers. This is pretty high up. Shoot. All right. So, now that you know that side of the story, it's time we tell you the rest. All right. So the next part of the history of Christopher Productions that you're going to need to know, now that we've been introduced to the original OG Masked Hackers led by the MH leader, the next part you're gonna need to know is the story of how I met my good friends Luke Lenz and Charlotte Periwinkle. So without further ado, let's go. So, in order to understand how Luke Lenz and Charlotte ended up in South Carolina in the first place, we need to dive more into the original Masked Hackers. So, According to things I've seen and some theories I also have, the masked hackers started after Project Zorgo was defeated for the last time by Chad Wildclay and V Quaint. The time came where they started to mimic what Project Zorgo did. They were inspired. Ex-Project Zorgo members helped create the masked hackers to bring basically together their own version of Project Zorgo, which, if you're a true Project Zorgo fan, that wouldn't slide with you. I know it ain't sliding with PZ8 or the Silver Hacker, which he's not the biggest Spy Ninja fan. He's not the biggest Project Zorgo fan, the Silver Hacker, but, you know. Anyway, come on, guys. The thing is the MH Leader was built by old Project Zorgo members, along with the help of MH9. And by the time the MH Leader was created, he became a massive threat to YouTube, the production squad, and everything else. He kept a giant eye on every member of the production squad, from Mikey, Noah DeJong. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. But either way, Mikey, Noah, along with PZ8 and Dushan, and also our old friend turned enemy, Ricky Rovito. And turns out that the MH Leader would start targeting not just people in the Netherlands or the UK, but he eventually came for me when I left my Project Zorgo ways behind and wanted to start a new team and inspire people like you watching to become something greater than what you are. Which, by the way, you're already pretty great. But either way, I wanted to inspire, so I created my own Spy Ninja team. And that's how this whole thing started. I started to try to recruit people. The first recruit was Jack Ryerson, but let's just say he betrayed me. More on the Ryerson family later. But as time moved on, two masked hackers from the Netherlands who had recently joined, Charlotte and Luke Lenz, were bonding in the MHHQ, you know, blah, 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 were close friends, and had met through the masked hackers in the Netherlands. And of course, they did this for a job.
Hello, Luke Lenz. Welcome to the Masked Hackers.
The only reason Charlotte was ever involved in the masked hackers is because her family was killed in a mass murder involving the criminal organization slash family slash, I guess you could say cult, I don't freaking know how to put it, the Blue Masked Freaks. And the only two survivors of that family that we know of was Charlotte's sister Violet and Charlotte herself. And as time moved on, they were low on money. They needed to survive, and they couldn't just stay on the streets for long, so they got the easiest, most high-paying job they could find, and that was the OG Masked Hackers.
Hello, Violet and Charlotte. Welcome to the Masked Hackers.
When they joined, Charlotte and Violet kind of went separate ways because they were all busy with work. And I've actually never met Charlotte. I mean, Violet, but I have met Charlotte. And let's just say, she always used to talk about her sister. I've always wondered why her sister never showed up. I mean, kind of a deadbeat, don't you think? But either way, Charlotte became close friends with Luke Lenz. Charlotte was all tech savvy, good with hacking. She loved science. Turns out she actually had revealed to us that she was the great granddaughter of the notorious Project Zorgo member, Joseph Banks. And well, she earned the title too, because she was so smart. I could barely comprehend what she was even saying. It was crazy. But either way, eventually, Luke Lenz was stationed by the original MH Leader to South Carolina, as a new division of the Masked Hackers was being started in South Carolina to basically take on other threats around the world, including me and Ricky Rovito, because this wasn't just for South Carolina. The base may have been in South Carolina. That might have been where they were stationed, but this organization was set up to deal with all of America. and Luke Lenz was the head of it at first. As time moved on, things started to change. I eventually got into a battle royale with Luke Lenz, and eventually things would change. Our friendship would become much stronger. He would help me defeat tons of other threats, and with his intelligence and his tech savviness, his katana moves, and all of that, he eventually became a member of the Spy Ninjas Rebirth. And not just any member, the navy blue member. But little did Luke know, things were about to take a huge turn. So what happened to Charlotte Periwinkle, the science geek, the amazing Charlotte Periwinkle, the sour lover, the masked hacker that we all loved, and was a pretty big villain? Well, after Luke Lenz had betrayed the masked hackers and had joined the Spy Ninjas Rebirth and took a new start to being a good person, learning the Spy Ninja tenets such as honesty, bravery, and loyalty. Well, after all that happened, the masked hackers were left defenseless and without a leader. So the MH leader assigned none other than Luke's old best friend, Charlotte herself, as the new commander of the American masked hackers. And she had the skills for it. She was smart. She was intelligent. She was skilled. She was very skilled. She was a powerful leader. And when she came, Luke Lenz felt very betrayed. Luke Lenz felt like he had lost a good friend. But luckily, he had me. But that wasn't going to be enough, which is why we just happened to meet someone else, known as Chase Ryerson, the yellow Spy Ninjas Rebirth. Chase was unlike anything else I had ever seen. Chase Ryerson just happened to be related to our ex-Spy Ninjas Rebirth member, the one that could have joined us years ago, Jack Ryerson. He had also been a part of Project Zorgo. Jack Ryerson was there in the UK when I was a part of Project Zorgo. He would always talk about how he ran away from his family, his cruel, evil, devilish family. And I didn't know what he was talking about. He used to talk about how his dad was some sort of big cultist. He abused them, tortured them, did all these bad things, and made them eat human. Blech. They just made him do a lot of stuff, let's just say that. When Jack would explain things, it sounded like his dad was some horror movie villain. And I didn't know if he was telling the truth or not. But then we had ran into Chase Ryerson, and we had learned all about the Blue Mask Freaks in Jack and Chase's twisted family. Jack and Chase didn't just have each other as siblings. They also had a bunch of other siblings that we would discover later, such as Lane Ryerson, Caleb Ryerson, Levi Ryerson. And I hate to say it, but there might be more that we haven't even discovered yet. The dad was a crazy, insane man who was terrible. And we had learned that he had died. Chase had told us that he had taken out his own father for the safety of his siblings. And well, at first, I wasn't sure if we could believe them. But as time moved on, we started to run into different members of this cult they were talking about. The Blue Mask Freaks would show up left and right with tasers that would and knives as pointy as you'd ever seen that would go right into you. And it was just, I didn't know what we could do about it. But the thing is, these Blue Mask Freaks were worse than we thought. They had harmed Luke and everything. Meanwhile, we were still dealing with Charlotte and her stupid masked hackers. And we had dealt with it for a long time, while also running into Luke's old friends from when he was a part of the masked hackers, such as Nathaniel Henning, also known as MH15. He was a tough one. He always carried around this baseball bat. He would go. He was very strong. He wore like these gloves and wore a mask similar to the cloakers
and even similar to MH47, to the point where people started to ask me if they were related. But the thing is, I don't think they were. We also met Noah, who was basically like a sidekick to Nathaniel. It was actually kind of sad. He would just follow Nathaniel's MH15 around like this. I'm coming. And it was just weird. I never understood why in the world he would take MH15 that way. But as time moved on, we found out that MH15 and Charlotte had a secret relationship, bada bada bada. Charlotte dated Luke Lenz at some point. There was a bunch of crap that we learned, and it just continued. Eventually, Chase Ryerson would join us and would become the Yellow Spy Ninja's rebirth. He was hilarious. He was one of my best friends. He loved watching Naruto and all sorts of other animes and drinking milkshakes. Chase was one of my greatest friends, and so was Luke. He was so intelligent. He loved Minecraft and all these other things. And well, eventually, Charlotte would join us too. And like I said, when Charlotte joined, we got 10 times better. We were a team now. There was 3 of us. We worked together, side by side, defeating Blue Mask Freaks and much other things. And it didn't stop there. We kept working hard and being a team together. But later on, after defeating tons of masked hackers, a new threat arose, known as the doppelganger. Okay guys, so I do want to let you guys know that I am not putting every bit of the things that has happened to me, because if we were here, if I were to do that, we would be here for ages. So I just want to remind y'all that there is more in between this stuff, but I'm just telling you the important stuff. Like, for instance, the Blue Mask Freaks also kidnapped children and did all this other crazy amount of things. And also, Luke Lenz and Charlotte had a relationship. MH15 was jealous. MH15 also bullied around Luke and Chase a lot. And Caleb Ryerson was a big threat in the Blue Mask Freaks. So was Jack Ryerson. Jack Ryerson came back. It's not that important, I'd say, compared to other things. And the only reason why the Blue Mask Freaks were after us is because we were with Chase and a few other things too. I don't really want to dive into the whole thing here, but let's just say the Blue Mask Freaks are still after me, and we're going to keep going. One thing I also want to mention before we continue is during this time, I was also doing live streams, which was the first time that you guys were, well, that people were introduced to my cousin, Cadence, which, yeah, it was really fun for y'all to see her. You guys loved her. There's a few commenters that still talk about her to this day, and let's just say eventually she became the Pink Spy Ninja's rebirth the last time we saw her. And it's not just that. Another fun fact you guys might want to know is the fact that I also had an ex-girlfriend known as Nicole. In fact, to give you guys a little break from lore, why don't I show you guys the Nicole video? Oh, this is gonna be ass. This is young me, remember, so...
Okay, guys. I've got something big to say. Nicole, when I first met you, through that one FaceTime call, I know this sounds cheesy. I know this sounds cheesy. I'm barely keeping a straight face right now, but I really like you. But the thing is that throughout the weeks that we've been apart, we haven't really been talking since I've been away from Cadence and stuff. But that's because I forgot what your number was, to be honest. So I feel so bad right now. Anyways, so hopefully we can get it back, and I really care about you. Happy Valentine's Day. You mean the world to me. I love you just as much as my fans who are watching me right now. That's how much I love you, because they're watching me make this video as of right now, which, by the way, has a ton of bloopers that you'll see at the beginning of this video. Okay, anyway, I'm just gonna say it. You mean a lot to me. I love you, Nicole. Happy Valentine's Day.
Anyway, yeah, short story, long story, we broke up, and that's done and over with. I'm not gonna explain why, but we're still, I mean, I do kind of miss her. But, anyway, I don't know if you'll ever see her on the channel again. Maybe. I've also had other ex-girlfriends, such as a girl named Jennifer. But yeah, now let's get back to the lore. Now, it is time for us to explain who is the doppelganger. And let's just say, explaining this won't be a piece of cake. Right, now let's go. The doppelganger was a mischievous manipulator, a hacker that could change voices, who had also appeared on Chad Wild Clay and V Quaint's channel multiple times. He could change his voice, and lately, I've been hearing rumors from other people that he might be able to shapeshift, but I've never seen it, so I don't know if I believe it. But anyway, let's just say the doppelganger was a ruthless villain of ours, and had caused us a lot of trouble. He manipulated us into turning against each other. Come on, cameraman. He wanted us all to defeat each other. He was put in command of the American Division of Masked Hackers in South Carolina. He controlled it. And as time moved on, the doppelganger used his power to try to destroy us. Funny thing, the doppelganger had also tried to convince me that I was just like him. Ugh. Sunyan. How are we gonna get through that, Sunyan? Let's go this way. Well, the doppelganger had tried to convince me that we weren't as different as I thought we were. But little did the doppelganger know that I would not fall for his tricks that easy. Because I knew what I was doing. Let's just say after years of fighting that crazy creep, it got to a point. Eventually, the team started going insane and fighting the Blue Mask Freaks, the doppelganger. The doppelganger was my greatest threat. And after all that hard work and sacrifice, eventually, it happened. Things went a little too far. At the final battle, Charlotte wanted to end things for good. So, she joined the Masked Hackers to go undercover to put an end to the MH leader. And let's just say, that didn't work out so well, because the MH leader killed her. And she never got the chance to reunite with her sister.
I am gonna defeat the mask hacker leader.
You cannot hide from me.
I'm serious.
Goodbye, Charlotte.
But anyway, the doppelganger was manipulative, evil, to the point where Charlotte was killed by the MH leader. Nathaniel Henning joined the Masked Hackers. Luke Lenz was killed by the doppelganger. And eventually, I would also learn that Chase was dead too. Because after we all kind of split up, things went crazy. I learned that Charlotte died. Later on, learning that Luke was killed by the doppelganger. In fact, I witnessed it. Me and my old fan, Samurai. And when that happened, he got angry, and let's just say, things were never the same between me and Samurai.
Why didn't you save him?
I tried! Shut up! Wait! Samurai! Come back! Samurai! But either way, as time goes on, There's more I could tell you, like the fact that we faced reveal the Blue Mass Freak, known as Lane Ryerson, and he explained to us how Chase died. Here's the clip.
No! 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 You monster! Let's finish this! Hey! You killed that poor innocent man! You're gonna pay for that! You understand me? Let's finish this! Ha! Eat that! What are you doing? I've had enough of this. You're done. It's time to face your
It all started when Chase wanted to quit the Spy Ninjas and live a normal life.
What happened?
Well, he told our dad about it. Let's just say that wasn't the best decision.
And what did your dad do?
Our dad offered him his spot back on the Blue Masked Freaks.
This is bullcrap. Why would your dad offer him a spot on a team that ruined his life?
Because it was his legacy. But he rejected the offer. Let's just say our dad didn't like that. He sent my brother, Caleb, to kill you, Christopher Productions.
Bastard! I'm so sick and tired of this!
Caleb was told to kill you by any means necessary. Chase didn't like that, so Caleb did what he was supposed to do and killed him.
What's up, guys? It's me, Christopher. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I have these clips with, of course, Charlotte and Violet getting recruited from earlier today that you might have seen, and the MH leader ending Charlotte, and clips like that that should be only exclusive to the masked hackers themselves? Well, I want to explain something to you. Back in the day, when I had betrayed Mikey and turned into PZF after my old team had basically all died, and I felt like Mikey had betrayed me around the time after he went to Vegas, I was able to discover some very interesting clips that MH was hiding from us. The masked hackers had hidden a bunch of old recruitment videos that I was able to download and steal. Eventually, since I've, betrayed the masked hackers, I still have these clips, and I'm going to show you a few of the other ones that I have, because I actually have a lot more.
Christopher, leave the masked hackers and join the good version of Project Zorgo led by me. MH581, also known as PZF. I want to remind you that you have made the right decision joining us, instead of the new Project Zorgo, or some pathetic team of wannabe spy ninjas, and now we need your help to recruit more masked hackers. Well, hello, brother, or should I say MH15. You've made the right decision. You've made your brother very proud. Welcome to the new masked hackers. Oh, and I see you've bought a friend. Would you like to join us?
Which means all of my old team, all of my old friends had died. And I feel like it was my fault. But either way, I tried to continue. We ran into Cadence again, ran into a bunch of other stuff. And if you want to see all of these adventures that I'm kind of skipping over, go to this channel, because for some reason, I don't have access to it anymore. It was hacked by some criminal organization or some wannabe criminal organization that I haven't heard anything from. If you know anything about these Midas hackers, tell me down below, comment down below. And yeah, we gained a bunch of new fans as time went on. Things went crazy. And of course, then came the whole Mirabelle thing. If you want to know what happens before this, like, you want to know who Mirabelle is, watch these videos. But anyway, to wrap it all up, let's just say that 99% of my friends are dead. I haven't seen the doppelganger in years. Cadence was the first new recruit to our team, the Pink Spy Ninjas Rebirth, and I also recruited Mirabelle. We attempted to recruit someone else a long time ago known as Samurai, and he left us. So, to sum it all up, all of my friends died in brutal ways. My old friend, Ricky Ravito, betrayed me and my friend Mikey and became the new commander of the masked hackers, MH47. And after losing all these friends, Luke Lenz chasing everybody, and having friends betray me, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'm angry. And I'm left thinking, can I trust anyone? I'm left thinking, do my friends care about me? I'm left thinking, am I the fault why Luke Lenz, Chase, and Charlotte die? I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll show you what. I don't care what you guys do to me, but if you guys, you blue mask freaks, you masked hackers, want to keep hurting my friends, then I'll show you what's gonna happen to you. You're gonna die. Anyway, can all let my anger get the best of me? Let's just explain the rest and then get this video over with. I thank you guys for watching this video, and well, we'll see you on the next one. Let's do a kick bump.